and welcome to the summary and analysis of Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, Scene 3. If you're an educator, don't miss my Teaching Romeo and Juliet series, which is a whole other thing also on this website. Finally, this is not a spoiler-free video, so fair warning. But if you're good to go, then count all 4 of your teeth and remember to fall on your back as we dive into Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, Scene 3. So it's just before the start of the big Capulet party, and Lady Capulet is talking to Juliet's nurse. Don't think like this, that meeting of nurse is actually pretty modern. Instead, this lady was like Juliet's wet nurse, and now she's like a nanny. The nurse is told to fetch Juliet, and she responds, "Now by my maidenhead at 12 years old, I bade her come." So that line perfectly encapsulates the way in which the nurse is a disaster. She's lovable, but she's not the brightest, and she often misses common sayings in slightly sexual ways. The real saying here apparently is "by my head," like if I'm lying, you can decapitate me. But she gets it wrong and swears by her virginity, which apparently she still had at 12. So Lady Capulet just wants to ask Juliet what she thinks about marrying Paris, but the nurse is going to walk all over this conversation. One of the things you'll notice with Shakespeare is the way in which social rank is reflected in the characters. The aristocracy are refined, elegant, noble. Their words flow, fully formed and glittering in often perfect iambic pentameter. It's vaulting, it's noble, and you go like this for some reason. But those further down the social ladder are increasingly hapless, tactless, crude, cruel, or bumbling. The nurse is very much the latter. After declaring rather unnecessarily that she only has 4 teeth, she will prattle on and on and on through a meandering story that goes pretty much nowhere. She pauses for one line from Lady Capulet, which is, "Enough of this, I pray thee hold thy peace," and the nurse responds, yeah, for sure, and then immediately tells the entire story over again. Finally, after roughly forever, Lady Capulet breaks in and shoots Juliet straight. "Tell me, daughter Juliet, how stands your disposition to be married?" She responds, "It's an honor that I dream not of." I love this response because, like so much of what Juliet says, it can be read in 2 different ways. Is she saying it's such an honor it's beyond her wildest dreams, or it's an honor but not one that she wants to have? More on this in the analysis. Her mom is like, "Well, get dreamin', kid, because it is time. Women, well, girls, younger than you are already mothers, and Paris has chosen you." Lady Capulet goes on to note that this is a good match for the status and the pocketbook of the family. After one more quick sex joke by the nurse, she asks directly, "Speak briefly, can you like of Paris's love?" Juliet responds, "I don't know, my brain won't be fully formed for years." No, she doesn't say that. She says, "I'll look to like, if looking liking move." That's what she says. And that response is killer. This kid, who has no higher purpose in this society than to marry well for the honor, status, and wealth of her family, gets an offer from the richest guy around and basically says, "Maybe, if I like what I see." How awesome is that? Then she softens it by adding, "But no more deep will I endart mine eye than your consent gives strength to make it fly." They head down to the party, and that's the summary. So if we really want to understand Shakespeare, we gotta get a little deeper than just plot. Let's do a little analysis. First up, when the nurse is going on her endless ramble, she says, "Come Lammas Eves at night, she will be 14. Susan and she, God rest all Christian souls, were of an age. Well, Susan is with God. She was too good for me." Susan is how the nurse got this job. It used to be that aristocratic women who had a child would often take in a woman of lower social class who also just gave birth, so that she could feed both children. However, her daughter Susan passed away, and the nurse stayed on with the family and continued breastfeeding Juliet. Over time, her role transitioned into a general caregiver for Juliet, and she has been with them ever since. This practice of wet nursing was common in cultures all over the world and only really disappeared with the invention of reliable and affordable baby formula in the 20th century. Fun facts. Next, when Lady Capulet suggests the Paris marriage, her focus is on the material advantages of this match. "This night you shall behold him at our feast, read o'er the volume of young Paris's face. This precious book, this unbound lover, to beautify him only lacks a cover. That book in many eyes doth share the glory, that in gold clasps lock in the golden story. So shall you share all that he doth possess, by having him making yourself no less." It turns out this book metaphor has a lot more going on than you might think. So 1500s, books were rare and valuable, the art was hand-drawn, precious books had ornate covers, gold locks, like we get all that. But the line about to beautify him only lacks a cover is actually a legal reference. Stay with me. This actually goes to the 11th century when William the Conqueror, who spoke French, led a collection of troops and, as his name suggests, conquered England and established himself as king. This was a sea change, obviously. We basically had French nobles establishing a whole new ruling class in England, and they all spoke French. Ever wondered why it's pig or cow in the field, but it's pork and beef when it's on the table? That's because it was English peasants who were minding the livestock when we still have their words, but the culinary words, those come to us from the only people who could afford the meat, and they all spoke French. Thus, it's pig and cow and sheep when it's alive, and it's pork, beef, and mutton when it's delicious. Anyway, another place where the French muckety-mucks left their mark was in the legal system. The official legal term for an unmarried woman was femme solo, I think. I never took French. But if she got married, then she was known as femme corvette, meaning she was a woman covered by the legal rights of her husband. So this precious book, this unbound lover, to beautify him only lacks a cover. So not only will the Book of Paris be covered by beautiful Juliet, but she will inherit or be covered by his legal status. So that's a long way to go to better understand that reference, but you know what? I stand by it. Anyway, notice how mom is focused on the stuff. So shall you share in all that he doth possess by having him, making yourself no less. For her, this marriage, it is about status. It's about money. It's about moving on up. The nurse, though, being lower status, she's focused on sex. She follows with no less, nay, bigger. Women grow by men. And in another place, she willingly misinterprets honor as the words on her, meaning like, okay, my point here, if ever I had one, is that neither feminine role model is even aware of the thing that matters most to Juliet, that there be a romantic connection between her and the man she marries. That's why she's cagey in her responses. It's an honor I dream not of, and I'll look to like if looking liking move. Neither is a commitment, because she is uninspired by the motivations her two mother figures hold up as a reason to get married. Juliet wants more, and her independent spirit here foreshadows the outright rebellion that is to come. And that's Act 1, Scene 3. Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out the complete summary and analysis and teaching series, teaching unit, all of it available now at onedayahead.com. Next time, we head to Act 1, Scene 4. We'll see you next time on One Day Ahead.